Hello guys, and welcome to the first episode in a new Let's Play. Today we're going to be playing some Victoria 2 with the Historical Flavor mod. If you have not heard of the Historical Flavor mod, it is basically the same as HFM, except that it adds some more, well, flavor. Essentially, it's a mod that tries to be a bit more, or at least to give the player a bit more when it comes to alternatives for alternate history. So there's a bunch of decisions for France, for example, that let them take the west bank of the Rhine, and a bunch of stuff that you will see once we get into the game. Basically stuff that the creator of the HFM mod felt like was just too much to add into the mod, but that still can add some interesting flavor to a game of Victoria 2. So in this Let's Play, we're going to be playing as Hungary, as you might have been able to see by the thumbnail and the title of this video. Of course, in order to play as Hungary, we need to start as Austria, because Hungary does not exist as an independent nation in 1836. But that is easily solved by simply going into Release Nations, click on Hungary and click Play As. And bam! Hungary is now an independent nation. Yeah, that's the thing. Let's quickly look at some of the changes that this mod makes though, before we get into the main campaign. So we can see a couple of changes on the map, although not too many. And when I talk about changes for the HFM mod, I'm generally referring to changes relating to, changes from the HFM mod, because this is a mod that's based on HFM, but that simply integrates a bunch of existing submods and other, original modifications to try and spice things up a bit, if you will. For example, we have the integration of the Africa mod, which adds the nation of Zoutpansberg, which is basically a nation that's mainly there to allow a player to play as a Boer nation or an Afrikaner nation from the beginning of the game, instead of having to play as Britain and then later on releasing a Boer nation. I'm sure there are a couple of other, border changes here and there. I don't think Inner Mongolia and Goizu is in the normal HFM mod, so there are a couple of things here and there. There's also more cultures, a lot more cultures actually. And is this? Yeah, I think this color for the Kurdish culture is different. France has a lot of new cultures. Well, two to be accurate. There's the new Occitan culture, which you might have seen in a bunch of other mods. And there is the Arpatian culture. Switzerland as well have been split into 4 different cultures, which is also, I think, that's from the Swiss mini-mod or something like that. So we have Swiss French, and the Arpatian and the Swiss French cultures look very similar on the map, but they are indeed 2 different cultures. So we have Swiss French, Swiss German, Romansh, and Swiss Italian, as it is in modern day Switzerland. Great Britain as well has more cultures. There is Faroese actually but that's Denmark. Yeah, Faroese in Denmark, but in Britain itself there is Scottish, English, so British culture has been split into English, Scottish, and also Welsh over here in Wales, of course. Let's see, Scottish. Yeah, okay, so there's no unique what is it called? Like the Scottish people who came to Northern Ireland and did their thing. I don't know, they're just represented as Scottish in this mod. But we do also have a unique culture called Anglo-Irish. So that's the thing. And there's a bunch of other stuff. A bunch of flavor, a bunch of unique decisions that nations can do. Cadian culture down in Louisiana. The amount of stuff is all over the place. Of course, the price to pay is that this mod is a bit less polished, I guess you could say. So some people might prefer to play the normal HPM mod. But let's get back to Hungary, the nation that we are going to be playing as in this Let's Play. I'm going to start by doing the trade policy decision, which is a new HPM decision, I think, which basically just lets you decide certain things. It decides how much tariffs you can get. I want quite a lot of tariffs because we are going to be going into a war rather quickly here. So I'm going to be researching some muzzle-loaded rifles. We're also going to do, you know, the standard thing, intellectuals in our most Hungarian provinces. Because in this mod, and I think, well, yeah, I think in the normal HP, yeah, I know for a fact actually in the normal HPM mod as well, Austria does not start out with cores on its eastern territories and its Italian territories, but they have a special casus belli that lets them conquer those territories if they lose them. And now this is a problem for us, because as Hungary, we are threatened by that casus belli, because normally if you play as the Ottomans and then release and play Bulgaria, the Ottomans will have no casus belli to retake those territories. But because of this special Austrian reconquest casus belli, the Austrians do in fact have a casus belli to conquer, us basically. They have a casus belli to retake Hungary and incorporate it back into the Austrian Empire. I don't know, I guess for roleplay reasons, or if we're going to imagine how this scenario ended up in the roleplay, if we're going to be doing a bit of roleplay, I would maybe say that, like, instead of the Austro-Hungarian compromise happening, what was it, 1867? I guess maybe in this alternate history it happened earlier. I'm going to maybe guess 1830. Because, the overthrow of the French kingdom inspired a lot of revolutions throughout Europe, the 1848 revolutions, but there was a revolution in France in 1830 as well. So maybe that revolution inspired the Hungarians to rise up and convinced the Austrians to enact a sort of Austro-Hungarian compromise where Hungary was nominally a part of the Austrian Empire but mostly technically independent. Kind of like how Serbia at this point in history is technically a part of the Ottoman Empire, or nominally at least, but for the most part it is very much an independent nation. Same goes for, Montenegro and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a thing. Another thing is that I'm not actually just using the HFM mod. I'm also using a little sub-mod that is called the Culture Change mod. Because one of my goals for this campaign is to make Hungary Hungarian again. Despite all of this being Hungary at this point in history, if we look at the culture map mode, we can see that the Hungarian culture is not all over the place. There's a bunch of minorities in the Kingdom of Hungary: Croatians, Romanians, Germans, and Slovaks, and Serbians, and so on. If we look at the actual ethnic makeup, we can see that Hungarians only make up about 40% of the population in the Kingdom of Hungary. So the goal of this campaign will be to, survive the onslaught of the Austrians and to try and convert our provinces to Hungarian. Now, of course, there's no real way to properly convert a culture in Victoria 2, because if a culture has a core on a province, if a Slovak in this game lives in a Slovak core territory, those Slovaks will never assimilate into Hungarian. And as a result, the only real option is, genocide. And that's the point of the Culture Change mod. Essentially, it adds a fourth option to the systematic extermination decision that you can do, that allows you to kill a lot more of your population. Now, I should mention that the creator of this mod is me, actually, because I wanted to do a Norway campaign. Well, I mean, I still do want to do a Norway campaign, But in a recent update, well, relatively recent update of the HFM mod, the systematic extermination decision was heavily nerfed. And as a result, my dream of cleansing righteous Norwegian territory like Östersund here became crushed. And so I decided to make my own little submod that will be able to rectify this. So basically the idea of the mod is that, you know, there's a couple of minor changes here and there, but the main thing is that you can kill a lot bigger percentage of the people. I think the standard decision lets you ethnically cleanse like 10 to 25% of non-accepted populations in non-colonial territories. But this little submod bumps that up to 88% or 88 to 94%, but at the cost of a lot more infamy. You have to pay, well, I wrote it down somewhere, but I forget now. I don't know. Something around like 20 infamy. It varies a bit because of the way the decision works. I can try and find the accurate numbers so that I can tell you guys in the next episode. If you want the submod, you can find a link to my Reddit post in the description where I will talk, where I write a bit about the mod and also give you a link to a paste bin, which then has a link to a download link. Now the mod is poorly tested, and that's actually kind of a big thing in this Let's Plays, that I want to test to see if my little submod actually works, because I've never actually done any modding before. So that's kind of why I chose Hungary, because there's a lot of minorities to convert, as they say. And as you might have guessed, that's a little bit of an EU4 joke. Because you're not actually converting the people in the province, you are really just converting the province itself to your culture. In order to paint the culture map mode whatever color you feel like. God damn it, that was quite a long speaking intro. So let's see if we can actually get a bit into the game here. Now, as I said, Hungary is threatened in the beginning by Austria, so we are going to have to do our best to resist that, and as a result this might take a couple of restarts. At least, yeah, I've done a couple of test games, and basically the Austrians will invade no matter what you do. You can see that I have allied them here, and that's just because I want to try and give myself a little bit of time to try and build up my army a bit and gain some strength. Basically the goal is to try and improve relations with the Russians, which I've already done, and then try to ally them. I have succeeded doing this in a test game once, so really I'm just gonna have to hope that I can succeed in doing that again. Although the Austrians will invade rather quickly, so from my experience I was unable to actually invade, I was unable to ally Russia before I got invaded by Austria. But somehow the Russians decided to accept my alliance and call to arms after the war was declared. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to recreate that in this recording. If not, I'll just do a bunch of restarts off screen, and I'll do whatever I need to do in order to try and recreate my test game. One thing that I like about the HFM mod, which is the main, well, yeah, probably the main reason that I'm playing the HFM mod for this Hungarian campaign, is the fact that we have a bunch of unique Hungarian decisions in order to rename our provinces to Hungarian names. Because if we see here, there's a lot of German names going on. Supertsberg, Funkkirchen, Agram. Is that German? I don't know. Well, Karlstadt, that's definitely German, so yeah, we have a bunch of decisions. However, I'm not going to take those right now, because we do gain prestige from those, and I need to save that, because we are going to be invaded by the Austrians very soon, and as a result, we're going to lose all our prestige. Actually, never mind, we don't have any prestige. But if I was able to gain any prestige by using these decisions, I would then just lose it again in the war with the Austrians. So I mean, you'll see what I mean soon. We do have a couple of options though that I'm gonna mess around with a little bit. The main thing I want to do is disable microstates. Essentially, this mod adds a bunch of microstates, you know, Monaco, Andorra, San Marino, and stuff like that. Yeah, Liechtenstein. I don't know, I feel like that's just going to complicate things, so I think I'm going to click the option to disable those. So they will just be annexed into, you know, the closest nation. And we will pretend like they're not a part of this mod. But hey, that's why there's an option there, because it is a bit... Yeah, different people disagree on whether or not that should be a part of the game. So yeah, I think that's the only option I will do. There will be a couple of other pop-ups that should pop up any day now, related to this mod. Any day now, unless my little sub mod broke something, which would be unfortunate. No? Well, never mind, there it is. Splendid isolation. So this is a mechanic that makes the United Kingdom isolationist and unwilling to ally other nations. Yeah, we can do that, as it should be. And then we have colonial railroading, which will essentially make it so that the AI will immediately try and take their historical colonies whenever they get the opportunity to do so. I'm going to disable that. I don't know, that seems just a bit too railroady to me. But once again, that's why it's an option, because it's one of those things that people can disagree on. And people do, and that's why it's an option. So we're going to do everything we can here to try and make the Russians like us. Yeah, we're also building armies, so I think we are good to go. Well, for now anyways. End of supply. Okay, well that was fast. So never mind then. The United Kingdom is no longer isolationist. I guess maybe we disturbed the balance of power, and as a result the UK got spooked. If that's the case, then that's good. That's good. Because that makes sense. Austria being split into two parts, that kind of would encourage the British to be a bit spooked, because the British are all about that balance of power in Europe. Oh shit. Alright, so the Austrians have finally broken their alliance and decided to go to war. So now we need to, yes, get an alliance with Russia, and please join me. Don't just meme about Russia. Join. Come on. Come on, I'm being invaded. My armies are being killed. I need to mobilize. But oh, fuck's sake! Yes, they will accept. Good. Good. So now the war to end all war. Well, not the war to end all wars, but the war to end to end or create all hope is going to start. Because if we do not win this war, everything is lost. And so we pray to the gods. No. What gods? Yeah, no, Hungary is like a bit of a mix, isn't it? Like a bit of Protestant, bit of yeah, look at that, even a lot of Orthodox. Although I don't think there's a lot of Orthodox Hungarians. That's mainly the Serbs and the Romanians. I think mostly the Hungarians are Catholic. But I think there are a couple of like, well, look at me trying to find the religious map mode, and I was like, ah, shit, never mind. There's no religious map mode in this game. So, yes. Yeah. Let us hope that we win. And God, yeah. See, I really should have mobilized before I did this. And see, why are you people mobilizing in provinces that you're just going to be killed in? Like, that makes no sense. Escape! Run away! Look at this man, Mano Batzer. Isn't that how? Fuck! I'm trying to remember to my EU4 Hungarian campaign at this point. Isn't C in Hungarian C? So it's where's Debrecen? Yeah. Okay. Well, we have not done the decision to rename provinces yet, but we're going to. So I think it's Debrecen, and as a result, this guy's name is Manobace. Oh, well, you know, there's an H in there. The Hungarians love to combine letters and pretend like they're one letter, so who knows? Who knows? But my point is, the guy's a fucking god. He has +4 attack, so we're gonna fuck some Austrians up here. We don't need our mobilized forces. Look at those battles! Look at those numbers! Okay, we're losing a lot of men as well. But we are numerically winning. And now we're getting wrecked over here though, so not everything is good. But we have reinforcements to send. Oh! Ah! Never mind! The war's over! Okay, good. So the Austrians were beaten. Good! Very good. I did not gain anything, strictly speaking, but the Russians most definitely did. They took Lviv, or yeah, oh yeah, that's the thing I like about this mod. I like how you can rename provinces and shit. This was East or Ostgalician, you know, the German way of saying it. But now we have Stanislav. Is this not the play? Premisel, never mind. Premshil or Premshil, the place that is mentioned all the time when you watch videos on YouTube about the First World War. That's over there. But yeah, everyone in our nation fucking died. We are now even less Hungarian than we started because of all of those mobilized forces who got murdered by the Austrians. But our independence has been proclaimed. Let's celebrate by renaming our provinces. So I'm not gonna, you know, point out all of these provinces. Let's just click all the buttons and rename all the things. And there we are. Goyor, Pest. Isn't it Pest? Because a normal S in Hungarian is just sh. And then S and Sed is that's a normal, so it's Szeged, but it's Pest. And then there is Debrecen, because of the weird C. And of course it's pronounced differently than that. That's just my shitty Norwegian way of trying to do it, from watching like 2 videos on YouTube on how to do it. Plus I watched those videos ages ago. So I don't exactly remember how that works, but there you are. The Horde of Austria has been beaten. Now the question is, will they lose their great power status? Because that's the crucial thing, because if they lose their great power status, they stop, I think they lose their casus belli if they lose their great power status. So, like, what's the numbers here? No. The Austrians are still number 8. They have 60 points, but Belgium is catching up though, 57. Come on, Belgium. Get some of those points. I want to see a secondary power, Austria here. Alright, we're able to do our first reform. I think I'm going to reform serfdom. Poor savings, education efficiency. Yeah, serfdom is just so bad that despite my intense desire for political rights, I think I will stick with that for now. So, yeah, because serfdom essentially forces a huge part of your population to just be serfs, so they can't promote to anything else, which is, you know, obviously pretty bad. And we want to avoid that. So, that's the thing. Alliance from Krakow? Nah, not really. I think we can do better. Can we do better, actually? That's a good question. Maybe the two Sicilies, actually. That could be a decent ally. Maybe invade the Ottomans together. Invading the Ottomans is like my favorite pastime. It's not, but I would really like to... Oh, they're allied with Spain. That's bullshit. Spain is not too strong. And I assume they would have a bit of a hard time to getting over here. I don't know. I think I'll decide whether or not we'll invade the Ottoman Empire in the next episode. So, thanks more for watching this first episode of the Hungary campaign here in Victoria 2 with the HFM mod. And also the culture change sub-mod. So yeah, leave suggestions for what I should do in this campaign, what I should conquer, etc. in the comment section. There will always, you know, as always, there will be a little bit of a delay to what I will, you know, how quickly I will be able to incorporate those ideas into the campaign itself. But I would like to have some feedback on whether or not I should conquer Krain / Slovenia and Istria. And who knows, maybe I should even conquer Serbia. I'm not sure. I think I want to get some colonies though. There are some neat features in the HFM mod, like we have like colonial policy. That's not a normal HBM. centralization, there's a decent chunk of stuff to mess around with. So it should be good fun, as long as we can keep the Austrians off our back. But once the Austro-Prussian War triggers and the, Italian liberation of these territories triggers, I think we'll be fine. Because at that point, the Austrians should not have enough power to really threaten us. Although as long as we are able to keep Russia as an ally as well, we'll be fine. So, yeah, thanks so much for watching this episode, and until next time, bye.